Today, we're discussing the impact of the drinking water update coming in 7 Days to Die Alpha 21. Now, we've got a lot of info to cover and no time to waste, so let's get to it. Ladies and gentlemen, recently here on Savin's World, we discussed the drinking water update coming to 7 Days to Die Alpha 21. I broke down what that change entails, why exactly the Fun Pimps feel the change is necessary, and provided my thoughts and observations on this change. However, that video focused primarily on the hydration factor when it comes to water. But this new drinking water system will have consequences to aspects beyond merely hydration. So today we are going to discuss one of those potential consequences, and I'm specifically referring to glue. Glue is an extremely important resource in 7 Days to Die. This item is used in a variety of recipes, and it is the primary ingredient in duct tape, which is needed for even more recipes. Even the Fun Pimps recognize the importance of this resource in 7 Days to Die. So much so that they even included it as one of the tips in the loading screen. Tip number 18 to be precise. It says, glue. Cook bones into glue in a cooking pot or chemistry station. Glue is an essential ingredient to make duct tape, the most useful item in the apocalypse. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the new drinking water update is going to make glue much harder to craft. In the current version of 7 Days to Die, murky water is needed to craft glue, which means in order to craft glue in bulk, you are going to need a bulk supply of murky water. This is currently not an issue, because getting your hands on a bulk supply of murky water is relatively easy to do in the current version. However, the whole point of the drinking water update is to remove the ability the players have to obtain water in bulk. By getting rid of the empty jars, players can no longer get their hands on a bulk supply of murky water. Now that alone could cause some massive problems. Thankfully, Roland has confirmed that the glue recipe is being changed. It now takes boiled water instead of murky water. But while the recipe change does make things a little less problematic, it still does not negate the fact that the whole point of this drinking water change is to make water of any kind much more scarce. And players will no longer be able to collect water in bulk, which means mass crafting of glue is going to be a lot tougher. So what exactly does this mean? What are the ramifications of this change? Well, allow me to provide you with an example. Let's take the archery build. Bows and crossbows can be excellent weapons. However, they're not very effective on Horde Night with regular arrows or crossbow bolts. Even with steel arrows and crossbow bolts, the bow weapons just cannot deal damage fast enough to be viable on Horde Night. Now, in order to solve this viability issue, many players opt to use explosive arrows and crossbow bolts. These ammo types are much more effective against the horde of zombie jerks, and they open up the possibility of using your bow or crossbow on Horde Night. However, explosive arrows and crossbow bolts are expensive. Every single explosive crossbow bolt or arrow requires 1 duct tape in order to craft, and you could easily go through 100 exploding arrows or crossbow bolts in a single Horde Night. That is 100 rolls of duct tape, which takes 100 glue to produce, and in order to make that 100 glue, you're going to need 100 bottles of water. That means you would need roughly 6 dew collectors, if you factor in crafting time, in order to obtain the required water. Now this causes a couple of problems. First, dew collectors are big. Each one requires a 3 block by 3 block area to place down. That means in order to place down 6 dew collectors, you are going to need an 18 by 18 block area. Let me show you exactly what that looks like. For this example, we will will use the chemistry station in place of the dew collector. The chemistry station requires a 3x1 area in order to place down, meaning a single dew collector requires the same space needed for 3 chemistry stations. And this is a visual representation of the space you would need in order to place down 6 dew collectors. This is a huge amount of space. And keep in mind that this is just enough dew collectors to get the water necessary to craft your glue. Second, the dew collectors need to be harvested daily. The idea of adding in yet another time-consuming and tedious task does not fill me with glee. While mass-producing glue will still be possible, this change will undoubtedly make it more difficult, time-consuming, and tedious. The drinking water update meant to address the survival aspect of 7 Days to Die, specifically the hydration factor, will impact much more than just that. So let's turn once again back to that archery example that I just discussed, because multiple players commented on this exact scenario. If we head over to the forums for 7 Days to Die, we will find this. One player posted, "I burned through a ton of duct tape, making exploding arrows and frag rockets, and occasionally repair kits when I resell stuff for more money." And yet another player posted, "Currently in Horde Night, my primary weapon is a crossbow with exploding bolts. I use about 100 bolts per horde. That's 100 duct tape and therefore 100 glue every week." These players had legitimate concerns regarding the new drinking water update, and the Fun Pimps responded with this: "Tons of glue in loot. Why is everyone so stuck on the glue production thing? I rarely craft glue. I find so much." Well, what exactly do you mean by tons? Because what you would consider to be a ton or a lot of glue may be vastly insufficient for the needs of another player because of their playstyle. You also say, "I rarely craft glue. I find so much." Again, you're focusing on your preferred playstyle. Just because you don't feel the need to mass craft glue, does that mean that the playstyles that do mass craft glue are no longer valid? The poster then goes on to clarify, "I consume about 100 duct tape per week just for exploding bolts." Again, reiterating the fact that in their preferred playstyle, mass crafting glue is a must. And the dev responds like this: "You could try a different Horde Night strategy. Lots of options available. I've been having a ton of fun with my melee-only horde bases. Saves a ton of ammo." In other words, sucks to be you. Ouch, Fun Pimps. This player is asking honest questions and has honest criticisms, yet the developer responds by being extremely dismissive and condescending. Instead of responding to some valid concerns raised by the player, those concerns are dismissed, swept to the side, and instead we get "sucks to be you." Oof. The new drinking water update coming in Alpha 21 will impact far more than just hydration in the game. For example, mass-producing glue is going to be far more difficult, time-consuming, and tedious. This update, while attempting to solve one problem, will create so many more. And when these concerns are brought to the attention of the Fun Pimps, players are basically told, "Sucks to be you." But that is just one man's opinion, folks. Now, I'd like to hear yours. So hop on down to the comments and let me know what you all think. What other possible impacts do you think the drinking water update will have on 7 Days to Die? Comment below and let me know. And speaking of the drinking water update, check out my initial drinking water update video by clicking the box in the top right corner of the screen. But for now, this is Savin saying thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you in the next one.